Francis, Chicago, 1956. A wooden box on the dresser, velvet gone flat. A rhinestone set for New Year's Eve. A hummingbird brooch she pinned to her coat on Tuesdays for no reason she could explain. You know this box. It's in your house, or your mother's, or in the back of a closet nobody has opened since the last funeral. Inside, jewelry. Some of it tarnished. Some of it worth $3 at a garage sale. Some of it worth more than everything else in the room. Nobody told Frances what she owned. Nobody told her it would matter. Number 2 is what Mamie Eisenhower wore to the inauguration, deliberately, with her husband standing beside her. Number 7 is the brooch that nearly every family from this era threw away because they thought it was broken. 9 pieces, what they were, why nobody in her family knew what they were worth. Number 9, the Weiss rhinestone parure. Bright, blinding. Aurora borealis stones throwing light in every direction, costume jewelry that reads as cheap and festive from 10 feet away. Frances had a set. Necklace, bracelet, earrings. She wore all 3 at once on New Year's Eve and to her nephew's wedding in 1958. The set lived in a small red box inside the wooden dresser box, all 3 pieces together, because that was how you wore them. Weiss opened in New York in 1942 and worked with Austrian crystals at a quality level serious fine jewelry houses were specifying for considerably more expensive work. In 1971, he closed his doors. No reproduction lines, no licensing, no second act. The supply of genuine signed Weiss pieces is exactly what it was in 1971, which is why the price has moved in one direction. In the mid-1950s, Swarovski developed Aurora Borealis, an iridescent rainbow shimmer, in collaboration with Christian Dior. Weiss used it extensively from around 1955 forward. A complete signed Weiss parure, necklace, earrings, and bracelet, all 3 signed, brings $500 to over $1,000. The name Weiss, on the back of each piece. That is the entire difference. Without it, the piece sits at the estate sale table at $8. With it, the collector asks whether you have the other 2. Number 8, the Eisenberg clip. Large. Overdone by modern eyes. Rhinestones the size of thumbnails in heavy silver tone metal. The kind of piece that reads as gaudy the moment you look at it, which is exactly why it passes through estate sales at the wrong price more than almost any other piece from this period. Eisenberg has the strangest origin story in American costume jewelry. Jonas Eisenberg began as a dress manufacturer. He decorated his dresses with rhinestone clips to help them sell, and customers kept removing the clips from display dresses without paying. People were stealing the jewelry straight off the clothes. So the company surrendered to reality and started selling the clips as jewelry. Then in 1943, the War Production Board limited use of base metals in civilian goods. Eisenberg was forced to switch to genuine sterling silver, an accident of compliance that created the most valuable era the company ever produced. The mark you want reads Eisenberg Original, without the word ice. Ice came later as a product line rebranding. On a piece from 1941 to 1945, the absence of ice means you may be holding the oldest Eisenberg ever made. Signed Eisenberg clips from the 1940s bring $200 to $500. One fur clip, enamel actively chipping, sold for $1,675. There is more forgotten daily ritual than fits in any single video. I gathered the beauty routines, cooking wisdom, and quiet daily habits of 1950s American women into a book at nostalgiawomen.com. The book is the long version. I will not mention it again. Number 7, the Coro Duette. This one fools people for a specific mechanical reason. A Coro Duette is not a broken brooch. It is 2 separate dress clips mounted on a single hinged frame. You could wear the clips apart, one on either side of a neckline, or snap them together into one large brooch. Coro made an enormous amount of jewelry, most of it common and worth very little, which is exactly why people see the name Coro and assume they are looking at something ordinary. They separate the halves. They decide it is broken. They put it in the discard pile. The snap-apart mechanism is the patented invention. It is what makes the piece a duet. Francis's neighbor owned a Carmen Miranda Duette, two figural clips in the shape of tropical fruit baskets, snapping together into a single statement piece. When the neighbor's daughter inherited it, she thought it was broken. She kept it in a bag labeled "Needs Fixing" for 32 years. The Carmen Miranda Duette, rhinestones darkened with age, sold for just over $1,800. The Coro name also hides the company's premium line: Vendome, higher quality stones, better construction, more collector value. Read the full mark before you decide what you are holding. Number 6. The Bakelite figural, old plastic, heavy, carved, fashioned into the shape of a cherry or a fish or a horse and pinned to a lapel. Bakelite was the world's first fully synthetic plastic, produced heavily from the 1920s through the 1940s. Francis had a carved cherry pin that had belonged to her aunt, red, glossy, heavy in the hand. She wore it on her winter coat to the grocery store on Saturdays. Here's how to tell if what you are holding is genuine Bakelite. Rub the piece hard with your thumb until it warms. Lift it to your nose. Real Bakelite releases a sharp chemical smell, formaldehyde, unmistakable once you have encountered it. The second test, rub with simichrome metal polish on a white cloth. Genuine Bakelite leaves a yellow residue. Color determines price almost entirely. Common colors, butterscotch, cream, pale green, bring $50 to $300. Deep cobalt blue and dark purple bring 3 to 5 times that. The figurals occupy a tier that surprises most people. A cherry red fruit pin with original paint details brought over $8,000 at auction. The same pin in a garage sale box gets offered for $2. If your grandmother's coat closet had a heavy carved pin she wore to the grocery store, subscribe before you go anywhere. You already know where this is going. In the 2000s, a new business appeared in American shopping malls. You have seen them. A kiosk near the food court. Signs: "We buy gold, cash for jewelry. Bring us your unwanted pieces." The pitch was simple. Clean out your jewelry box, bring the broken and old-fashioned pieces, get cash today. They paid for gold at melt value, bought silver by the gram. Legitimate businesses. What they were not doing was identifying what they were purchasing. An Eisenberg sterling clip goes to a scrap dealer for the price of the silver by weight. Nobody looks at the Eisenberg name. The clip goes into the melt. A Coro Duette brought in by someone who believes it is a broken brooch gets assessed as 2 separate clips with no particular value. Into the lot. Assigned Weiss Aurora Borealis parure, all 3 pieces present, all 3 signed, gets offered a number based on the weight of the settings. The glass stones have no material value. The name has enormous collector value. These are not the same calculation. This is not the fault of the buyers. They buy at scale, quickly, at prices that work for their model. The fault lives in the information gap between what Francis knew about her jewelry and what her family knew after her. Francis knew what she owned because she chose it. Her granddaughter knew there was a red box in the wooden box, but nobody wrote down what was inside it, what it was called, or what the name on the back meant. The kiosk is not the villain. The silence is. Number 5. The Miriam Haskell pearl set. The pearls Francis wore on Sundays were not real pearls. She knew this. Glass beads coated to look like pearls, faux pearls, from Miriam Haskell bought at Marshall Field's in 1953. Miriam Haskell had a shop in New York by 1926, and her jewelry traveled in 2 directions at once, worn by actresses on magazine covers and sold to ordinary women at Marshall Field's for prices that did not require a special occasion. Pick one up and look at the construction. Every bead is individually wired onto the frame by hand, tiny loops and connections around each glass bead, forming a structure that moves like fabric but holds like metalwork. Nobody builds jewelry this way anymore. Haskell's signature is a small oval hang tag at the clasp, a separate metal piece many women removed because it seemed decorative and unnecessary. The hang tag is the only proof of authorship. Women who kept it own a signed Haskell. Women who removed it own a piece the market cannot verify. The jewelry is identical. The value is not. A common Haskell pearl necklace brings $200 to $700. A signed set, necklace with matching earrings, sold at auction in 2023 for $2,400. Do not separate a Haskell set before you know what you have. When both pieces are present and both are signed, you have something the collector has been looking for. When they've been divided between two daughters, you have something the collector buys half of and spends years trying to complete. Number 4, the Marcel Boucher figural. The name Marcel Boucher appears on the back of brooches that go through estate sales at $2 with regularity, because the name means nothing to someone who has not heard it. Marcel Boucher trained at Cartier in Paris before opening his own New York company in 1937. He finished the backs with the same care as the fronts. He built mechanical details, a punchinello pin with arms and legs that swing when the piece moves, birds with wings spread in flight, enameled in colors that have not faded in 70 years. The mark is Boucher, or the initials MB, beside a 3 or 4-digit number. His plain gold-tone florals do not carry the value. The figural storytelling pieces are where the money is, the enameled birds, the insects, the figures with moving parts. A Boucher pin with emerald-cut crystals brought $225 at auction. The rare enameled figurals climb well past that. The name on the back, the number beside it, that is what you are looking for. Number 3, the Hattie Carnegie figural. Henrietta Kanengeiser came to New York from Vienna as a child, got a job at a millinery shop, and decided if she was going to build something, she would name it after the most successful person she had heard of. She renamed herself Hattie Carnegie, after Andrew Carnegie. By the 1940s and 1950s, Hattie Carnegie was putting her name on figural jewelry, animal pins, flower brooches, sculptural pieces set with genuine Swarovski crystal that collectors track carefully to this day. The mark changes. Some pieces read Carnegie, some read her initials, some read Miss Hattie. That inconsistency is exactly why so many of her brooches pass through estate sales unrecognized, sorted into the dollar bin by someone who did not look the name up. Frances pinned a Hattie Carnegie hummingbird brooch to her coat on Tuesdays. She had bought it at Carson Peary Scott in 1954, a 1960s Hattie Carnegie lion design bracelet and earring set together, sold at auction for just under $2,400. The interesting figurals with Swarovski stones are where the value lives. The dollar bin piece and the $2,000 piece share the same mark. The only difference is whether someone looked it up before they priced it. Frances died in 1988. Her daughter sorted the jewelry box in 1989. She kept the pearls because she recognized them. The Eisenberg clip went to a cousin who sold it at a yard sale in 2001 for 50 cents. The Coro Duette went to Goodwill in a bag of miscellaneous jewelry in 2004. The red wooden box went to the curb. This is not unusual. This is the story of nearly every jewelry box from this period that did not have someone who knew to look. Between 2010 and 2026, the secondary market for signed American costume jewelry from the 1940s and 1950s increased substantially and has not reversed. The collectors who were building knowledge in the 1990s, when the women who wore this jewelry were still alive and pieces were still moving through estate sales at original prices, built collections that have appreciated significantly in the decades since. The women who own this jewelry are largely gone. Their knowledge went with them. What they left behind is now in circulation through estate sales, thrift stores, and online auction platforms, and the price is set entirely by whether the buyer recognizes the name on the back. Frances paid $7 for the Hattie Carnegie brooch in 1954. A Hattie Carnegie figural piece in the same condition sells to a collector today for $200 to $400. The lion set that belonged to her neighbor's cousin sold for $2,400. She knew it was good. She wore it because it was good. Nobody wrote down why. Number 1 is not a piece of jewelry. It is the thing that made every piece on this list worth what it is worth. Number 2, the Trifari Jelly Belly. In January of 1953, Mamie Eisenhower wore a Trifari necklace and earrings to her husband's presidential inauguration. She chose Trifari over fine jewelry, deliberately and publicly, because she believed that what the First Lady wore should be accessible to ordinary American women. Alfred Philippe, Trifari's chief designer, had trained at Van Cleef and Arpels in Paris before bringing his technique to costume jewelry. He insisted on hand-set stones and construction methods normally reserved for fine jewelry. The Jelly Belly series is Trifari at its most recognizable. A Jelly Belly brooch has a body made from a clear lucite cabochon, a dome of transparent plastic forming the belly of an animal, with a pave-set rhinestone surround forming the wings, fins, or legs. Fish, penguins, roosters, each piece built to fine jewelry standards in a form that's sold in department stores. A Jelly Belly fish in excellent condition brings $500 to $2,000. The mark, a small crown stamped directly above the letter T on the back of the piece. The crown Trifari mark on a piece from the 1940s or 1950s is the difference between costume clutter and a collector reaching for their wallet. Women who saw the 1953 inauguration coverage in their newspaper knew what Trifari meant. Frances knew. She bought Trifari because of it. Her grandchildren called it costume jewelry. They meant it as an explanation for why it wasn't worth keeping. Number 1, the sign parure. A parure is a matched set, bracelet, necklace, earrings designed together, sharing the same stones and the same metalwork. The set as a unit. Frances wore her Weiss Aurora Borealis parure as a complete set. She chose her jewelry first and dressed to it. The pearl necklace determined the neckline. The Trifari Jelly Belly determined the lapel of the coat. The hummingbird brooch went on the coat before she chose which coat. The jewelry was not the finishing touch. It was the first decision expressed last. Here's what the estate sale misses. Families sort a jewelry box by visible category. Earrings here, necklaces there, and pieces that belong together get separated in the first hour of the first day. The bracelet goes to one daughter. The necklace goes to another. The earrings stay because nobody recognized they were part of a set. A signed Weiss parure, all 3 pieces together, brings $500 to over $1,000. Sold separately, one piece sells for $8 and the other 2 go into a donation bag. 32 years in a small red box. That was the whole of it. What she kept together was worth something. What got separated was worth whatever the person who found it decided it was worth. The name on the back. That is the whole story. 9 specific names, 1 specific understanding, that the set stays together, and the price of everything Frances owned depended entirely on which of those survived the estate sale. Go check the box before you sort anything. Turn each piece over. Read the back. Leave what you found in the comments, the mark you just recognized, the hang tag still on the clasp, the small red box you almost put to the curb. Subscribe. There is more of this waiting for you.